questions. The key bits of information, we put a leaflet together, so you can take that away. Do take more away and give them to your friends as well. So, why are we here? As Tom says, there's two things that we'd like to tackle. One of them is we want to give people a better chance of getting a better deal from an electricity supplier, and we'd also like you to be able to use power directly from local solar or wind power. There are various reasons why that's difficult at the moment. At the moment, your domestic meter, it just clocks up the number of kilowatt hours you're using, and you either get a flat rate all through the day, same price, or maybe you get economy 7 when you've got two prices. But your supplier, when they're buying power, they're actually buying it at different prices at different times of day, but they can't pass that difference on to you. So you might be using power at a cheap time of day, but they don't actually pass that on. So we think, well, we could potentially give you a really good benefit if we could find a way of passing that difference in power on, the price on to you. And the other side of it was we'd like, as I say, you to be able to use power directly, because the wind farm, or if you've got solar panels on your roof, you only be getting 5-6 pence per kilowatt hour for anything you export, so you don't use yourself. But you're paying anything from 9 to 25 pence per kilowatt hour. A big difference there. So we'd like to try and keep more of that money in the local economy by using that power directly. So that's very difficult to do at the moment, but we think we've got a way of doing it if we work as a group of people together. And obviously something like sovereign housing, when you are a group of people anyway, it's quite a good place to start. So we think if we group people together, then we think we've got a way that we can actually give you different prices through the day, possibly every 4 hours. Exactly how that would work is something we want to work with you to work out. And then if there is local power being generated, you could use that and say pay 6-7 pence for it. So the generator would get more money for it and you would get cheaper power. That's the basic idea. As I say, it only works if you work as a group. But there's some practicalities there as well, that if you've got different prices at different times of day, or do you know when okay, you can look out of a window and see if the sun's shining, but you don't want to be rushing around the house trying to switch things on and off when the sun's shining. So we've also been working with some people developing some equipment to give you a helping hand with that. So it'll do two things. One, it'll share out that local generation between people, but also help you to use power at cheap times of day. So it can switch on or switch off some appliances, things like storage heaters and electric water heaters, automatically. So you can tell it, I want my hot water on at 6 o'clock, or I like my house very warm or not so warm. But then it will switch them on at cheap times of day. So it'll either be when the price is low or when there's lots of wind generation or solar generation. And it'll also give you a little display that will show you how you're using your power, and also cheap times of day to use it. So if there's, say, you can look at it and think, oh, well, that's a good time to put my washing machine on, or this isn't a good time to put my washing machine on, for example. So that's there to try and give you a helping hand. But we need to try all this out. We need to understand how people use their power now and what they could move around and say what's practical to do things. I say work with you to work out what will be a useful set of different prices at different times of day. And so to try and answer some of those questions, say we've got some funding for a trial. So to start off with, the first step of that would be to work with you to just monitor when you're using power, and I'll hand over to Philip in a minute to describe that in a bit more detail, and to understand how you use power and what you use when. And then the second half of it would be trying out the technology in your homes. And we wouldn't just put it in and leave you to it. We work with you so that you understand how it works. We'd want to actually do some surveying to ask you, well, is this helpful? What works, what doesn't work? And to start off with, we wouldn't want to change your bills while we're trying it out. So we try and give you the equivalent of what you might save in probably co-op vouchers, because I know you've got Mid-Counties co-op down the road, so it's something you probably use anyway. Or let us know if that's not practical. We can have a different shopping voucher, but that seems to be the obvious one. So we need 50 people to try this out. We obviously wanted to let you know about it. We want to start recruiting people at the beginning of next year. First of all, do just a survey of your home to check that we could actually put the technology into your home, and give you some tips on energy efficiency. And then over the summer, do some energy monitoring, and then probably put the actual equipment into your house for a year, starting at about September next year. And obviously we take it out at the end of the trial. So Phil, do you want to talk a bit more about sort of monitoring and the surveying things?
Yeah, maybe I can